Shalom, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a live episode of Life with Sharon. We are back. We are on a 2-week hiatus, trying to get some much needed rest and relaxation. But we are back tonight with a live episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a great guest and friend on the show tonight, Dr. Marquita Williams. Let's clap it up for her. It is so good to see you tonight. And let me just say right off the bat, you look gorgeous, darling.
Right back at you. Right back at you.
Oh, why, thank you, darling. Yeah. You know how we do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So talk about loving those curls. I'm also loving those curves, right?
Yes.
Right? So Dr. Marquita Williams is the CEO of Lov'n My Curves, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And this is Philly Fashion Week, and her company, Lov'n My Curves, is a part of Philly Fashion Week, and she's going to get into all of what that entails and how you can also get tickets to be a part of the fashion show on Saturday, the 24th of this month, September 2022. So stay tuned for that information. And Dr. Marquita, if you could give that information right up front and then throughout our dialogue and at the end, because we want to make sure that people don't miss it. And as you share it, the moderator will put it on the screen. So therefore people will know whenever they, whenever they tune in. So let's just get started. So again, I'm so happy to see you because we don't get to see each other that much. So this is a great opportunity. So how have you been?
I've been like everybody else, trying to get out in the world, be safe, but making sense. So I'm glad to say, blessedly, I am doing just fine. Me and Mary J. Blige, right?
That's fine. Right. That's right. Well, you look like you're doing well, darling.
Thank you.
So let's talk about Lov'n My Curves. First of all, that is a great name for a company. It speaks volumes and it speaks self-love, body positivity,
all of that,
right? All of that. So let's start from the inception of Lov'n My Curves. How did Lov'n My Curves get started, and how did you come up with the name and just even the idea?
Yes. So thank you so much, for having me on Life with Sharon. I love it. That's a great name as well. So many
things you, darling.
You can do with that. And we've known each other for so long. So I'm so excited to be on your show, manifesting all the things that you have talked about for a long time. So you have to see it, right?
Right.
Before you can be it. So
that's right.
I just congratulate you on this.
Thank you. Show. I appreciate it. You're God welcome. Is good, right?
Yes. Amen. Amen. So Lov'n My Curves, like I said, we've known each other for a long time. So I've always been into fashion, and I come from a pretty, I used to always say I come from a dressed up family. Like my friends, when I would go out, they said, what are you wearing? Like, we have on jeans, you got on a gown pretty much. I said, right. From a dressed up family. And so it was always in me about, the reflection of how I feel inside being shown on the outside. And so I was fortunate enough to do a lot of work with different organizations like Dress for Success and some of the other, like Career Wardrobe and Fairy Godmothers, like helping women to find their best, look as they're portraying themselves out through the world. And so that led me to being on a fashion board. Okay. And when I was on this fashion board, we did so many shows and so many fashion events, but there were never models that looked like me. There were never models that were over a size 2. And I kept saying to them,
what?
Women come in all sizes, shapes, heights, figures, and we need to be represented when you talk about fashion. And so we continued to have that conversation, but I wasn't seeing it represented in the events that we were doing. So I said, you know what? I can keep talking, or I can just do it myself. And so I connected with a couple of fabulous, curvy friends, powerful women in their own right. And I wanted to do something. And at this time, if you remember Dress Barn, we were doing like kind of an in-store shopping girls' night out. And it was during the holidays. And it went over so well. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it for Love Month. I'm going to do it for February. It's my birthday. It's Valentine's Day. And I just started thinking about what it meant to me to do these events. And I said, you know what? This is a celebration of curves. I'm loving my curves. And that's how we got the name. So
Okay.
then it was about me and my self love journey and wanting to share that with other women, and loving my curves emerged. So we had that event in February, and then we wind up having a small fashion show. And
Mm-hmm.
speaking of manifesting, I said we had our first Loving My Curves, unofficial Loving My Curves event at the Comcast Center. And it was a
Okay.
small show. It was, in the basement in the shopping corridor. It was real sexy, real cute. And afterwards, I said, wow, this was great. I really wish we could do this for Philly Fashion Week, because women need to see themselves represented on these runways. And unbeknownst to me, my lawyer was the lawyer for Philadelphia Fashion Week, and she connected us.
Oh,
And the
wow.
rest is history. We clicked.
Right.
They saw what we were doing, they respected my vision, and they gave us an opportunity. And from that opportunity, we became the official plus size partner to Philadelphia Fashion Week.
Wow, wonderful. Let's clap it up for Dr. Marquita and Loving My Curves. Okay.
Yes,
I didn't
yes,
I didn't know that you were the official plus
yep,
size agency for Philly Fashion Week. That is awesome.
yes.
So now what year
And
was it that
and
you
like you were saying, the tickets, just so
Yes,
people
yes,
know on
yes.
the front end. So our fall season show is this Saturday, September the 24th, and you can get tickets at Lovin' My Curves. That's LOVN My Curves .eventbrite.com. And even if you go into Eventbrite and you type Lovin' My Curves, it'll lead you to our page, and you can purchase tickets by clicking that link.
And
Loving
say
My
say that
Curves. Dot,
yes.
Loving My Curves. Eventbrite.com.
And moderator, if you could put that in the chat, that would be awesome.
Love
And
it. Thank you.
also on the lower third, if you can, make it a scroll here and there.
Mhm.
Dr. Marquita, what was the year of the first show? When you said you had the first show at the Comcast Center.
So that was in the fall season of 2018. Yeah.
Okay, so it's been 4 years.
It's actually 5 years, because was 18, or was I always no, it was 18. But the seasons, so we do a spring season, we do a fall season, we do a spring season.
Okay, got you.
So it's actually been 5 years.
Okay.
This is our fifth year.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Wow. So did you start out with a few models and now you've expanded to more? What was that process like?
So our very first show, I think we had 30 models, maybe something like that. We
Okay.
may have had 4 or 5, maybe. No, we probably had about six, maybe 7 designers. And at the largest, we've had about 100 models. About that includes men, though. So we probably had about
Okay.
80 female, about 20 male models. And we have 10 designers. So it has gotten really, really big. This
Okay.
season, we still have about 8 or 9 female designers.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have a show called Fit for a King, where we're showcasing men's fashion as well. So it's
Okay.
continued to grow. And even post pandemic, people are super excited about the show. And we're excited too.
So is Fit for a King part of Loving My Curves?
Fit for a King. So the male side of the house is called the Kingsman.
Oh, I
And
like
yes,
that.
yes. And you know what's so interesting? So we started to develop the male side of the house because we were doing these large scale casting calls.
Mm-hmm.
And women were coming out. And so when we do our castings, it's not just, a walk, thank you very much for coming, but we really talk to the individuals that come out about their experience of being in a curvy body or being a big and tall man, and what led you to this moment to come to cast for Loving My Curves. And we hear so many great stories. And sometimes the women will break down in tears and, just talk about their experiences at modeling in other brands, or just being in their skin and coming
Yes.
to love that. And so one casting we started to have, I think it was a gentleman who came with his female partner, and he was waiting, and he was a big and tall guy, and he said, "Well, what about the guys? Where are the guys?" Right? And we said, we've been thinking about that. I wonder if we should do that. So we did it. We extended to men for the next casting, and the men came out, and they had the same kinds of stories. And I remember one of the gentlemen saying, "I've been a big and tall guy my entire life, and people always say, 'Did you play sports? Did you play basketball?
Mhm.
Did you play football?' And he said, 'No, like I'm a scholar,' you know?
Right,
And they
right,
say, 'Well, if you don't play sports, basically, like, what good are you?' And
right.
I'm just like, wow, like that really opened our eyes to the continuum of experiences that men and women of size and stature have to deal with our entire lives. And so
Mhm.
we started to expand and bring in male models and menswear brands. And, it has just been a really great experience for us. That's the side of
Okay.
the house that we are looking forward to doing more with.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking of things in my head. Do you have do you pair, not so much pair as far as look alike, just do you pair male models with the female models and they walk the runway together? Let's say if you're doing a bridal fashion show with a bride and groom, do you do stuff like that?
So we only do it as it is relevant to the designer. So our
Gotcha.
shows are like a traditional. If you went to a traditional New York Fashion Week style show,
Right.
our show mimics the traditional Fashion Week platform. So
Okay.
it's single form female models, single form male models. However, we did have the Emmy award winning Shirley Ralph as a designer 2 seasons ago.
Okay.
And she had menswear shirts as well as female shirts. And so
Hmm.
she had a male and a female come down the runway together. So if the designer
Okay.
pulls it out and it's a part of their look, then that's what we'll do.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So with what's coming up on this Saturday, a part of Philly Fashion Week, is there any information you can give us without, blowing the cover, so to speak, about, what people can expect?
Listen, if you go to our Instagram, which is Loving My Curves PHL, you will see just a whole array of spoilers in the sense that we are listing all of our sponsors, we are promoting all of our designers and our partner brands. And today in my stories, I posted just a little sneak of what the venue and the runway looks like. So this year,
Oh, okay.
it's all new. So typically we either do a single file runway, or a couple of years we've had a U shape, which I love. It's great. But this season it is an outdoor show, and the runway
Mm.
goes around an operating fountain. Ah,
Oh,
very Chanel,
nice.
very Versailles. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
very much
Mm-hmm.
so. So it's yeah, this is extraordinary. Coming out of a pandemic, we
Right.
really wanted to elevate and evolve. So the theme of our show this year, the theme of our brand this year is evolution. But that is the theme of the show. And it really is about expanding the partnerships for our brand, expanding the opportunities for the models. We've elevated the fashion show experience. It was already awesome,
Right.
but
Right.
it really is rivaling, some of your large scale traditional brand shows in terms of the aesthetic and the audience.
Right. And the quality of what it
Oh,
is that you're
100%.
producing. Right.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes,
So
absolutely.
I have so many questions because I love fashion, and I've never I know a couple of designers, but I haven't known anyone personally who has put on, from soup to nuts, right?
You gotta
This
come
type
to
of
the
event.
show.
Right. Well, I'm trying, but the schedule is kind of
I
crazy on
know
Saturdays
it's
because
hard to be a mogul. I
I
understand.
know. um, but so when you have models, male and female, and you have designers, now this is like shop talk just for information from me because I'm not in this business, so I don't understand the layers. So when you talk models and you talk, designers, are these people who are specifically say your designers, Loving My Curves designers, or you say, oh, I like Joe Schmo designer. Could you come design something for my show or collaborate with me for my show? Or are they your employees, your model employees, your designer employees, or
No,
both?
no, they're not. They are actually, we put out a designer call. So
Okay.
designers come from all over and they submit like a sampling. We tell them what the theme is and
Mm-hmm.
they submit a sample of what they would like to show for the Love in My Curve show. And then we work with the designers on their line that is going to be presented at the Loving My Curves, either fall or spring season shows. And so it's very much like, it happens at, if if you had a Marc Jacobs or a
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Klein show, you're going to, they collaborate with we collaborate with the brand on their next upcoming line. And so,
Okay.
and then they debut the line at the Love in My Curve show. And then the line goes
Gotcha.
on to sell on that brand's website and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. So we have had an array of designers who've been with us repeatedly, and we have new designers that that we've seen out in the plus size clothing category out in the world, and we've sent stuff to them and said, hey, we love your brand, we love your style, we love your fit, would you be interested in showing at the Loving My Curve show? And and we were fortunate enough to get some of those people on board.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So now let's talk the journey.
Yes.
So before the inception, when it was maybe not even a thought, right? And then you had this fabulous idea that you manifested, right? And so along the journey, what were some of the barriers that you ran into? Because you get plus size models, this is not a traditional, look, or we've always been around, but we have
Mhm.
not been accepted in the
Mhm.
fashion community, right? So
Mhm.
this is long overdue. We've been trying to make these inroads for years, and
Mhm.
obviously, you know what I mean, you've broken that glass ceiling, praise
Mhm.
God, right?
Yeah,
But what
praise
were
God.
some of the barriers that you encountered in
Mhm.
trying to break that glass
Mhm.
ceiling?
I mean, there are many barriers. You spoke of some of them just in terms of like breaking in. So number one, the idea of doing an all curvy runway fashion show is, almost unheard of. There are a lot of
Right.
brands that do fashion shows, and and they do a lot of different kinds of fashion shows. So some of the brands do very like entertainment focused shows. So they're models, there may be some dancing, there may be some singing, some poetry, like all kinds of things happen at these shows. And unfortunately, I think sometimes when people go to those shows, they don't take the brand and the fashion seriously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then when you come out and you say, I'm an all curvy show, people think that, oh, okay, it's another, show that I can't take seriously. So one of the first things we had to do was say, listen, there's space for all of us in terms of our expressions and however you want to present your fashion shows. But what we want to do is show that everybody is
Mm-hmm.
valuable, right?
Right.
And that curvy bodies can be included on a traditional fashion week platform. That is huge because I think that Loving My Curves, I know that Loving My Curves is the only official partner on a traditional fashion week platform. And so what that means is you can't go anywhere else. New York, LA Fashion Week, Paris, Milan, all of these traditional fashion week platforms, and find a completely curvy show. So that's one thing that we've been really, really proud of, and felt so excited to be groundbreaking and historical in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the idea about the clothes, and I know, we fashion girls. And for so long, the fashion industry wanted to give you a whole bunch of, browns and grays, a whole bunch
Yes.
of ill-fitting moo clothes. They want to put
Right.
you in the back of the store on the side over there by the bathroom,
Yep.
and so to attract those designers that were doing some couture pieces and that were doing, gowns and sequins and bathing suits and bright colors and were thematic, with their presentation.
Right.
That was another barrier, that we were able to break through because we looked and we found those designers who felt like us. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to adorn my body in the same way that a traditional size model, would adorn their body with these pieces. And so we got
Right.
great designers and really just getting people to take us seriously and know that we are, not just a flash in the pan. Some of these brands come out and they're here today, they're going tomorrow. But we have stood the test of time, 5 years up, and we're going to continue and we're going to continue to expand our brand and our vision. And so, those things like being present, breaking stereotypes, pushing past barriers, getting people to take us seriously has been what we've been focused on over the course of the development of the brand over the last 5 years.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with all the barriers, it sounds like perseverance, regardless, right?
Yeah.
Is the goal, is the motto rather.
You have to believe in you, and I
Right.
and I very much know that this is from God through me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and it is, let me tell you something. This is show week and it is maddening. Show week. It's so many
I
things
can
that happen.
imagine.
But for me, there is a vision, there's a purpose, there's a
Right.
focus. And so regardless of all of the things that come up, I know that there is a larger end in sight for all of us. We've even seen some of our models who have come to us. They have gone on to book campaigns. They've been on billboards in Times Square. They've signed with agents. They've gone to Paris Fashion Week. Like there
Okay.
is a purpose here.
Right.
And so
Right.
we're just living out our purpose. So barriers
Okay.
are gonna come. That's a part of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And you're the woman to knock them down.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Right, right. So is one of the many goals that you have for Loving My Curves is to also do what you did in Philly, in New York, and Paris and Milan as well?
So we would love to do Paris Fashion Week. So I'm putting that out there because
Okay.
I actually individually got invited to Paris Fashion Week last year, but we know what happened last year.
Right.
People thought the numbers were going to drop and Paris Fashion Week was going to be all, up and ready. And then they said, no, we got to sit this one out again. And so I'm looking forward to going, individually, making those connections
Right.
and, seeing what the possibilities are. But I would love to go to do a European Fashion Week because believe it or not, so I've been to Paris, before,
Hmm.
and I've been to a couple of places in France and a couple of places in Europe, and they love a curvy
Yes.
body,
Yes,
love
they
a
do.
curvy body. And so I
Hmm.
think we would do very well to influence, the culture and some of the in the European Fashion Week. So we're looking forward to that.
Okay.
But that's just one of our goals. We have a lot that we want to do.
All right. So share. What's next for Loving My Curves?
So, what's next for Loving My Curves, I think, is to influence how people live their daily lives, right?
Hmm.
So, there's a lot that we do that I know I do, as a woman of a certain size, as I travel. The
Right.
places that I go for clothes when I want to work out, the places that I will go to work out, the things that I like to eat that I know are good for my body, but also taste good to me. And so, there's some things that we want to do to help people in their daily lives, in
Hmm.
terms of like looking at lifestyle and developing those partnerships that would help people just really feel good about not only the life that they're living, but the skin that they're living that life in.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many brands that are coming out now. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Big Fig. So
No,
Big
I'm not.
Fig is a mattress brand that is specifically for, people of size, larger people. So you buy your mattress, it's all good. But if you buy a big bed, it has those wooden plats under it.
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
if you roll around a couple times, them plats out, they might pop, they might hold you, they might not. But Big Fig has said you don't even got to worry about that because we're gonna build in some like aerodynamic springs so that it's comfortable. But
Hmm.
this mattress will last the 20 years or the 10 years that other mattresses last. And there's so many brands like that that are keeping in mind the curvy consumer. And so we're wanting to bring some of those opportunities to our audience. The curvy dollar is about to hit 24 billion.
Okay.
24 billion. So that means women like you and we spending big money
Oh, right.
everywhere.
That's why I don't
So
understand why, you think designers wouldn't. tap into, because they're in the business of making money. Well, we spend a lot of money on clothes, so
Hmm.
why wouldn't you want to tap into that population? It just doesn't
Hmm.
make financial sense to me.
Exactly. But you know what? I think people don't know, because we've so long lived in the shroud of, oh, this is the big girl or this or that. And now that those numbers are getting out and people are seeing more people, loving themselves, more models that are, curvy models, even the mainstream brands are now having like two or three or at least one, what they consider a plus size model on their runway, and models
And
like
isn't the
Precious
average
Lee.
size like 12 or 14 or 16 now? So you
Listen, the
can't
average
really
size,
walk
yes,
around without seeing us.
exactly. And let me tell you, so plus size, what it used to be like 14 or 16, and according to traditional standards, it is
Right.
now going down to 10, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
But right, but so that means that more than half of the female population in the United States would be considered plus size. So
Right.
you can't get around us. You know what I mean? No pun intended.
Right.
You can't get around the curvy dollar because we're everywhere.
Right.
So
Right.
brands, are going to have to pay more attention, in which they are. Like you'll
Mhm.
see, like, Old Navy has a really pretty good plus size section, and all of the Targets and the Walmarts and all of those like big box stores that you don't even necessarily think would have something that you would want to
Right.
that you will want to go and peruse through. They're actually paying attention. And in fact, Target just connected with a really great designer, and she came out with a limited edition. Those
Mhm.
clothes sold out like in no time. So
Wow.
people are paying attention.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
And I'm sure Loving My Curves has something to do with that.
Absolutely, absolutely, because we promote the brands and
Right.
we
Right.
are
Right.
connected to some of the brands, and we intend to have a lot more to do with it. So, those are the things that we are looking forward to beyond this season.
Well, that's great. And if,
Yes.
if there's anyone in the chat who is working with Dr. Marquita as a model, designer, or whatever, if you're in the chat and you want to just come up on the show to briefly share your experience with us about working with Loving My Curves, the moderator will drop the link in the chat. And we just have a few rules. You have to be fully clothed because you know how people do on the internet, right?
I do, yes. I do, I
So, we're
do.
not trying to get banned or anything like that. So, and we don't use any profanity on this platform, right? We keep it all good, all healthy.
Yes.
So, but yeah, if you want to do that, the moderator will put the link in the chat and you will be able to join us live on the screen. So feel free, or even if you don't work with Loving My Curves, but you have something to share, feel free to join the show when the moderator puts the link in the chat. So my next question, Dr. Marquita, is with everything that you've talked about, and because I know you and I know your I'm not going to say your first love. You can say what your first love is, but I know what your profession is, right? Dr. Marquita is a psychologist, everyone,
I
and
am.
so I hear the psychology behind
Mhm.
Loving My Curves because of
Mhm.
what you do. The
Mhm.
self-esteem, the confidence building,
Mhm.
the body positivity, loving ourselves. And
Mhm.
so I'm thinking, and of course I want you to elaborate on this, that is woven all the way through Loving My
Mhm.
Curves because of who you are as a
Right.
psychologist, and you understand about when people feel good about themselves, and this your brand is helping them do that. So you may
Yes.
even have a model who has come to you, even though a model is putting themselves out there to be seen, but it doesn't mean that they totally feel secure, right?
Absolutely.
But once they come to Loving My Curves and are loved on and see
Mhm.
other people who look like them, what that does for self-esteem and
Mhm.
confidence, and so it just helps them. So I would like for you to speak to how that, your profession, being a psychologist, played a
Mhm.
role in Loving My Curves.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, you listen. You said it all right there.
We're in the same profession.
Right. Exactly. So you got it. My love is people.
Hmm.
I love people, and I love our our stories and our idiosyncrasies and our personalities and our journeys. And so, when I started Loving My Curves, it was really about empowerment and inspiration. That
Mhm.
that is, what our mission statement says. We wanted people to feel strong, and we wanted people to feel good, and all of these um notions and stereotypes about women and men who are a certain size. I really wanted people to be able to look other folks in the face and say, listen, you can't harm me with your words, because I know what I feel about myself inside. And that
Right.
really was what it was about. And so, you're right in that we used beauty and fashion to get to people's psychology, to get to
Mhm.
people's inner psyche about how we feel about ourselves. And because how we feel about ourselves dictates what we feel we're capable of, right?
Yes.
And
Right.
so, I know so many people that don't travel or won't do certain things because they're of a certain size. And then, it makes sense to be prudent. You don't want to jump out there on the zip line if you over the weight limit or whatever the case may be. But you
Right.
don't have to stay in your house. You don't
Yes.
have to stay in your familiar territory. You don't, because the world is unpredictable around, when you go places, if you're a certain size, and or you're not sure how people will receive you. If you want to be
Mhm.
a sexy woman and you're a size 24 or whatever the case may be. And we just really wanted people to know that, whatever it is that is your truth, that it's okay to be that, to have that, but it's also okay to grow from that. It's also
Right.
okay to move from that. We're all on a journey and many different levels. And you will hear my partners talk about their experiences. We mentioned a couple of times that we know each other. So my parents and my
Mhm.
family. And so I grew up in a household that loved on me, loved on my chocolate skin, loved on
Mhm.
my round belly, loved on my thighs. They just, girl, you couldn't tell me that Marquita wasn't just it. Like,
Right. Right. Right.
she's good, right? But
Mhm.
so many people didn't live in that love, right? And
Yeah.
so there's, like you said, searching for it and seeking it in many ways in life. And so I wanted to create a platform when people came to experience themselves with Loving My Curves, they could feel that. They could feel
Yeah.
that love. They could feel that whatever it is that is your journey, whatever it is that is your truth, it's all right with us, right? And
Mhm.
we're here to love on each other and to support one another. Everybody's not going to be a model, right?
Right.
Everybody is not going to walk a runway, but everybody can feel valued. Everybody can feel worthy. Everybody can feel accepted. And that's about what starts with inside you and is projected outward, and other people just mirror how you treat yourself. So,
Right. Absolutely.
and so that really, you didn't pull out, that's the psychology behind Loving My Curves, and what we're
Yes.
endeavoring to do.
Yes. I'm sure you probably have examples, not so much that you have to share specifics here, but of, you being the CEO and in control of everything, the people who you see come and go. I'm sure, I'm imagining in my mind that you have seen some people come in and how much they blossomed throughout the process of their
Absolutely.
time with you.
Absolutely. We have so many of those stories. And that really, like, that's what keeps us going through the
Hmm.
barriers, because things is
Yes.
always like, oh Lord, we calling each other and this happened and that happened.
Right.
And then we think about, some of these men and, women and men who have come to us on a maybe I could, or maybe I can do
Hmm.
this. And maybe they didn't wind up being models, but maybe they were a volunteer, or maybe they did end up modeling, or they stuck close to the brand and kept their eye on us.
Hmm.
And the stories that they then come back and tell us, or what we see, as people move through from year to year, we always laugh like, oh, look, she's a star now, or he's
Right.
a star
Right.
now. We see people on social media, they're getting so much attention. They're, traveling and getting contracts and, finding love
Mhm,
and all of
mhm.
that. And so, we certainly are grateful for the part that we have played in people's development and love, externally and internally. That's what we're
Right.
trying to do.
Yes.
Empower and inspire. So
And anything that God is involved in, and as you said, the God is doing this work through you. God is love, so it has to happen like that when He's involved,
absolutely.
right?
Yep.
So we don't expect anything less when
Yes.
God's involved.
Yeah.
So any final words that you would like to share other than giving the information out again? Anything you would like the audience to know about Loving My Curves, Philly Fashion Week, or anything that's coming up?
So I will just say, for Philly Fashion Week. So Philly Fashion Week is now.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see their Instagram is Philly_fashion_week. And they've been doing pop-up shows all week. They have been going around from place to place. They had a trolley the other day, and their models would get off and they did a show in front of Macy's. They did a show in front of the Kimmel
Oh,
Center.
nice.
Like very, very creative. Kevin and Carrie are innovators. They're visionaries, and I thank them, every chance I get for taking a chance with us and seeing, something in Loving My Curves and seeing that our vision could walk alongside their vision, because they are like great shoes to walk in terms of like the production and what they see and the capabilities of a brand.
Mm-hmm.
So the main events are later in the week. On Friday and Saturday, everything is happening at 1 and 2 Commerce Square, which in Philadelphia is 20th and Market.
Mm-hmm.
And our show again is on Saturday, the 24th. Our doors open at noon. Unless you're a VIP, then you can come in a little earlier at 11:30. And we are going to have a great show. As I said before, we have many, many beautiful designers. We have a lot of models this year. We've branched off with brands this year. Dove Self Esteem Project is a sponsor. Ambi is a sponsor. We have a
Okay.
fantastic author. Her name is Stacy Scott. She does a book about loving yourself and the journey. We have so many. Oh, we have Desi that's going to be our show host. And I don't know if you know Bridget Battles, but she's going to do our red carpet. Like, we just have blossomed with so many brands, so many designers this year. And so it's definitely going to be an amazing show. Loving My Curves is 5 years old, but we are really like just getting started. I know that there's such a need, and people have reached
Mm-hmm.
out to us for additional support. We've done some work with Girls Inc. So we want to be able to influence our young ladies early on, just loving your body and
Mm-hmm.
taking pride in your body and taking ownership over your body early. We do work with women's groups and women's shelters. So, fashion is a way to get people's attention. But
Yes.
once they get in, we really pride ourselves on the empowerment and the love and the inspiration that happens once the Loving My Curve bug hits you.
Okay.
So, so
That's the hook, right?
that's it. That's it. So,
Mm-hmm.
please, check us out again on our IG. It's Loving My Curves PHL. I'm Dr. Marquita, and my Instagram is Ask Dr. Marquita, ASK. And, I'm just looking forward to continuing what we're doing and branching out and living out our vision.
Okay. And can you also give that Eventbrite information for tickets?
I sure can. For tickets. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to break an exclusive with you. So for tickets, it's Loving My Curves, LovingMyCurves, Loving My Curves .eventbrite.com. And we are going to be doing a group sales the next 2 days. So people have asked us, oh, I'm going to bring my girlfriends. I'm going to bring some guy friends. And so we have created a day out code. So if you buy 4 tickets or more, you put in the code day out and you are going to get a really, really great discount. It's about 20% discount, but it's going to be quick. It's like a flash sale.
Right,
That's
right,
it,
right.
right?
You
So
got
it's
to get
real
it for while it's
you
hot.
got to get it exactly while it's hot. But we have some friends that are in groups, and they've continued as families. My family is a bunch of them that are coming, and other folks. So we are giving a group code, and it'll go out probably about midnight tonight. So you getting it first.
And so yes, this is an exclusive on Life with
Hey!
Sharon. So where can people go to get this code? Is it Instagram? Do they go to Eventbrite? Where do they go to?
Eventbrite. So if you go to
Okay.
lovingmycurves.eventbrite.com, you push it in, and as soon as it comes up, it's gonna ask you about the tickets, and you put the code in, and the price will be reflected.
Ah, okay.
So
So
it's all automatic.
the code will be on Eventbrite.
The code, yeah, the code is already on Eventbrite.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
when you said
your listeners can do it now, but everybody else will have to wait until tomorrow.
oh, all right. So we really do have an exclusive. I hope you guys were listening. All right. So that's awesome. I'm
Yes.
so proud of you, Dr. Marquita. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Great and wonderful things God is doing through you. And I just pray that God continue to bless you and to bless the work of your hand, and that you prosper in everything that He has for you, and that no adversary will stand in your way as you move through the things of God.
Amen. I received that. Woo, I felt that in
Yes.
my bones. Yes.
God's got you, Dr. Marquita. He's got
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
So that concludes our show tonight. I want to thank Dr. Marquita for joining us and spending this time with us, sharing with us about Lov'n My Curves. Don't forget to get the tickets to Lov'n My Curves, and don't forget that flash sale. You have gotten an exclusive. You can go there now on Eventbrite, lovingmycurves.com/Eventbrite. It's in the chat.
Lovemycurves.eventbrite.com. And I got to shout out our executive coordinator. She says she wanted to get on, but she wasn't quite dressed after 9. But we love you. We can't do anything without Donna. So thank you, Donna, for
Thank
checking
you,
us out.
Donna.
Yes, and being here.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me and Dr. Marquita this evening. And Dr. Marquita, she's a friend of the show, so she will be back, whether she's talking Lov'n My Curves, whether she's talking psychology, she will be back because she's a friend of the show. She's one of the original hosts of one of my other shows, Psych Talk, where we talked about all things current events and relevant, but put it in a psychological perspective. Great show, great information. And we're still going to do that. But, we got other things that's going on right now. So we had to put that on hold for a while, but we'll be back with that show again one day. So thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you got some valuable information tonight. And remember, no matter what shape, size, color your body comes in, love yourself.
Yes.
No matter who loves you, love yourself. Because as Dr. Marquita said, you are valuable.
Yes.
And people will take their value for you by how you value yourself. So value
every time.
Every time. So we love you. God bless you. Have a God evening. Have a God week. And go to Philly Fashion Week and Lov'n My Curves this Saturday, the 24th.
That's
Get
it.
VIP tickets for 11:30.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
And when you
All
get
right.
there, let me know that you saw me here on Life with Sharon.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Love you guys. Shalom. Have a God evening.